So you, yay.
Hello, Rachel. How are you doing today?
Sunny as always, my friend. Sunny as always.
That's good. I mean, we had quite the rainstorm, so
We did. I'm ready for some sun. It has been nonstop, but I think that we are in for some more.
yeah, I'm just glad that it's kind of behind us a little bit. But
Yeah, me too.
there was definitely some trees that came down, some financial emergencies for some folks next door. Thankfully, not me this time. But it is life.
That's
So
a,
we're just gonna give it another minute for folks to come
yeah.
in. I'm so excited for this conversation. I think that it's gonna be it's gonna be a good one. I know that you and I have been joking about like how people actually become financial educated, and we have a lot of degrees between the two of us. We understand the value of education. We understand how important it is to make sure to go and learn different things and apply them right away. But if you're like me, like applying and winning at every given chance you can get is the best way to make sure that you're improving your own financial capabilities. So I think that this is going to be a fun conversation as a
Yeah,
result.
we're just a little bit competitive too. So it's one of those things where like I want to win at the store every time and I want to have the highest percentage. Like I'm always looking at my percentage at the bottom of the receipt and I'm competitive with myself on that just to beat my all-time best from last time. And different stores have some different strategies, but it's still a very fun game for me.
Absolutely. My wife and I, we have a joke that if like we typically shop at Harris Teeter, for example, because that was the store that was closest to us, and
Yeah.
uh, it does show the percentage that you saved, and we joke that like if you haven't hit, even 25%, are you even a pilot? Yes, competitive is
Yes.
the right way to put it, but I think it's a good thing. It
Yeah.
can be a good thing. Make it a game. So I think that we have folks joining in. I'm sure they'll get caught up into this. I'm gonna just set the tone in terms of how this webinar came to be, and then Rachel, I know that you're going to be driving the vast majority of it. You're kind of our resident super couponer
Yeah, this is my
galore.
jam.
It's hilarious that like U.S. News and World Report reached out on that like literally as we were doing this webinar.
Yes, I was like,
Uh,
what's my webinar?
Exactly. Um, but so, for folks who are here for the webinar,
Mhm.
thank you so much. Thank you for attending, taking time out of your short Independence Day week. I know your mind is probably already either on the beach or on the fireworks or whatever is going on. But hope that we're going to bring you a conversation that's both interesting and personally relevant. And at the end of the day, it helps you think differently about how you may engage your workforce, your employer clients, about how financial education could work. Because ultimately, that is kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about couponing. What we are fundamentally talking about is making a game out of financial education in a really applicable way. And but rather than being like everyone else, talking about how to save up for rainy days. We like to talk about how to save up for sunny days rather than like everyone else talking about budgeting. We are going to be talking about couponing and how to do it in a way that can get a little wild and at the end of the day save you a lot of money, which we highly encourage you to put into
Right.
a sunny day fund at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So that's kind of the context yeah, for the conversation. So I'd love to start with a couple personal stories. I know Rachel, you and I talk about it all the time, like how we got here. But it's not just your family or my family or anyone's family that thinks about this. I feel like couponing is in a lot of people's minds nowadays, right? Or more broadly, just finding a penny where you can find one is on everyone's minds nowadays, right?
Yeah, I think it's the old, a penny saved is a penny earned, and then we're kind of going back to that a little bit. And couponing used to have a bit of a stigma as far as who did it, but I think it's becoming a lot more relevant now as the economy has changed. We talk about tariffs affecting the prices of our everyday goods, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how to make that dollar stretch. And if I don't have to spend that at the grocery store, what else can I do with that money? What other goals can I accomplish with that money? So it's really into the bigger picture of daily expenses and how we can budget and be more impactful with those dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll get a little bit more onto the economics and
Yeah.
tariffs picture. I know that Nike and Lululemon had a nice rally today as a result of the tariff settlement with Vietnam. So that's going to be interesting and an opportunity for couponing. I'll talk about that in case you need to,
Nice.
get more things for either, you're like me, you need to get some dress pants. You can do that. But let's talk about like, okay, one thing, one good that you may have bought recently at a grocery store, Rachel, that, and when I say recently, it can be like the last 6 months. Let's expand it a little bit. And you're like, what just happened? How did this blow up in price? What was that one thing for you?
Yeah, so for me recently, like my biggest haul recently was because, and this has been a while as far as when the event happened, but when my first was born, my first child was born. She was born in 2012 and she was born really preemie. She was, only 3 pounds when she was born, and then she dropped down to 2.5. And so when I brought her home, she was still less than 4 pounds, and she was always behind on, the growth charts of where she was supposed to be, but she was doing good for her. Like she was making good progress. And then when she turned about 8 months old, she decided, I'm just not going to drink bottles anymore. And I was like, that's not going to work because you need to grow. So I tried a bunch of different remedies that all these other people had said, put this in the bottle, put that in the bottle. And the one thing that worked for us was, that Mean Green machine,
Yeah.
like the green machine juice stuff. I would
Yeah.
put like a quarter of that in like three-fourths of the bottle, right? Three-fourths milk, and then a quarter of that green machine, and she started drinking it, and she drank that until she was like 13 months old, and that was the only way that she would do it. So I had shared this story, with obviously Green Machine, and so they had sent me, even though it's been several years, they sent me a big stack of coupons for all these drinks that we could get. And so I was like, we are going to totally take advantage of this. And so I went and I mean, they gave us a coupon for like 20 of them, and so I
Yeah.
went and got 20 of them, and the retail price came to like close to $50 because they're over $2 per bottle. But I
Yeah.
had these coupons for it, and so they were all free. And that was just because I reached out to the manufacturer saying, I love your product. This has been really great. This made a difference in my life. And they're all about that. And then they want me to go on socials and talk about it, which I haven't done yet. But those are
I think
some
you're doing it right
examples. Oh
now.
yeah,
So
I'm doing
check
it
the
right now.
box.
So Green Machine helped me out. So those are the kind of things where yes, there are store coupons, yes, there are manufacturer coupons, yes, there's digital coupons, yes, there's apps that you can download, but you can also reach out to your favorite brands and just be like, I love your brand, and this is the story behind it, and they want to hear those stories and how it makes a difference, and you can be rewarded with coupons and some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll share one of the stories from my side.
Yeah.
So, as you know, I've been traveling a lot and a lot with our toddler recently.
Yes.
So,
Super
I've
fun
had
times.
to come across all sorts of different things. So, for me, actually, milk was one of those things where I've continued to see the price keep going up and up and
Yeah.
up, and I was a bit confused by it. And not to get into the conversation about organic versus non-organic or
Yeah.
whatnot, but I just know
We'll go
that
there too, though. We'll go there too.
we can't we with our toddler, she just likes a certain kind of milk, and
Yeah.
we were trying to make that work, and of course it's like this whole milk and this where half a gallon is like pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But obviously, you don't think about any of those types of things because ultimately it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
What you can
hunger.
cost.
That's what you have to do. You have to
Yeah.
focus on making sure that you're solving for that right there and then. But it turns out, similar to you, there's a lot of ways that we've been able to find a way to reduce the price of that. One of them is through essentially the manufacturer coupons associated with the milk. And we've
Mhm.
just been a lot more proactive. And there's a couple ways that this happens. Like one, you and I have previously talked about paper adverts, right? Like
Mhm.
you literally still receive things in mail. People half the time immediately throw that away. But quite out, in this case, we were saving $2 to $3 a half a gallon, and we go through a half a gallon, once a week. So over the course of a month, each, us just being mindful of that ends up
Yeah.
saving us about $10 to $15, which isn't nothing at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
it's those types of things that add up. But the other thing is there's also opportunities for those types of coupons to exist in a digital format as well. So we've been able to stack them, and I know that you're going to be talking about
Yeah.
stacking. on certain days because that's your ultimate hack.
It is.
So we'll get there, but that's been one of the other ways. And last but not least, this is a complete side note. If you are traveling and you, like me, have not been able to find milk in one of the many stores that are in an airport because they're out or they don't have milk,
Yeah.
walk up to a coffee shop and ask if you can have milk. Half the time they will give it to you for free or will charge you $1 because
Nice hack. That makes
they,
sense.
yeah, totally. So if nothing else, hopefully that's a nice hack that you can walk away with. So you talked about the economy, you talked about the tariffs.
Yeah.
What like in terms of like what's been causing different pressures? I think that the I word has been thrown out a lot recently, right? The inflation, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of different drivers behind that. Yes, it's a either limits supply of whatever the underlying good is, or limited
Hmm.
supply of labor that goes into bringing that good to you for through one way or another. It could be artificial price increases like tariffs. There's a multiple different reasons that those things have been going up. But what's really interesting is from a manufacturer standpoint and from either a grocer or more broadly a distributor standpoint, what they're struggling with is predictable inventory, right? So at the end of the day, you know, what the way that people make money, the way that all of these folks make money is they want to make sure to not just be able to produce a solid amount of goods at a price that obviously that they're more than break even, they're able to pull in a profit, but do it in a predictable way because when you're doing it in a predictable way, that's when you're able to broaden the horizons. So
Hmm.
what's been happening is there's been like all sorts of these weird inventory gluts, right? So you know, the grocer may end up ordering out of fear. Hey, I know that these chemicals, these ant traps, they're manufactured in a foreign country, and I know that those are about to explode in price because it's one, summer, ants are in the house, and two,
Hmm.
because of the tariffs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ahead of that, and I'm going to order a lot of those. But now
Hmm.
their warehouse has a limited amount of space,
Yeah.
and they're like, I have a billion of these. I need to figure out a way to get them off my shelf a little bit more quickly. So what happens? Enter coupons. It gives
Hmm.
us as consumers the opportunity to basically be able to get the same good at a lower price. So that's kind of how one of the more traditional ways coupons have worked. The other way coupons have come into the mix is basically the manufacturers and the grocers try new things, and you
Hmm.
are effectively sharing data. Now, just to be clear, if you think that your data is not already being shared, you're incorrect, unfortunately. It is being shared in one way or another. But in this particular case, you're able to essentially, be able to vote with your wallet and say, yes, I like this. This is the type of thing that, I buy this when it's at this price. And then that manufacturer or sorry that distributor that grocer has the tendency to be like, okay, I know that this person will predictably buy this good at certain times, so if I
Hmm.
have that inventory and I need to offload it, I can run a personalized coupon, I can run a personalized sale. So do pay attention to those types of things. So that's a little bit of the economics aspect of it, but that's the boring crap. Rachel, I want to hear about the juice. Well, not literally the juice because you already talked about the green machine, but
Yeah.
I want you to talk about like some of the things that you've done as a super couponer.
Yeah, and just to give people a quick preview of what we're going to be talking about, just like one of the snapshots of like the final thing that we're trying to create, and then I'll kind of break down how this is done. Um, like I'm just going to give you because we were just talking about inventory of things, and I know people have been talking about eggs a lot, right? So the bird flu impacted a lot of the egg producers, and so I think that they're starting to make a rebound. But in my neck of the woods, eggs are still anywhere between $4 and $8. So like this is an example of a coupon that I had seen. So this is a store sale. So this is where we talk about stacking store coupons with manufacturer coupons. So in this case, this is a store sale, and they have a coupon for Eggland's Best cage-free eggs for $3.99. And this is an 18 pack, which is bananas. So But in the little fine print, you can see if you download the store coupon on the digital app, it's down to $2.99. So you can get an 18 pack for $2.99 if you go have that download that store app and find that coupon on there and load it onto your card. When your card runs, it's going to discount it down to essentially $3 because it's $2.99. Well, I have
And
a man. Yeah,
real quick there, Rachel, on Eggland's Best, just reference price there, it's $6 to $8 typically
yeah,
elsewhere. So like already right off the bat, you're looking at roughly 50% off right
right.
there.
Right. And then on top of that, I have this manufacturer's coupon for 50 cents off Eggland's Best cage-free eggs. And my store happens to triple manufacturer coupons up to 50 cents. So that means this $3, 18 pack of eggs, it was $4 and now it's $3 because I downloaded that discount. And I'm using my 50 cent off coupon, which is going to triple to $1.50 off. That means I'm going to get 18 eggs for $1.50. So that's where couponing becomes very magical and fun.
So 75% off. You just got
Yeah.
75% off, basically, for at the reference prices that I've typically seen for Eggland's Best. And by the way, the reason I know is, yes, I do. I guess as a shout out, they do have some great eggs, and my toddler loves them. So tended to use them. But that's pretty awesome. He just found money with just one thing.
Yeah. And so that's a combination of a couple things where you're paying attention to what your store coupon policy is. The coupon policy varies from store to store dramatically. So you want to go to your local store. Sometimes they have it posted on their website if the coupon policy is across all of their stores. Other times they'll say check with your local location to see what that is. Like in my neck of the woods, I've got ShopRite who doubles 50-cent coupons. They triple 50-cent coupons. So I'll preserve my lower end coupons, like 50 cents and below, to use at ShopRite. My Safeway doubles coupons up to including 99 cents. So like 75-cent coupons, I'm going to try to prioritize using those at Safeway. I also have a smaller local grocery store called Harvest Fair. They do the rare, beautiful thing of doubling dollar coupons. So if I have a dollar coupon, I'm going to save it and use it at Harvest Fair because that one coupon will become $2 off. But I'm not going to use that coupon all willy-nilly. Like a lot of people get the paper, they clip out whatever coupons for items that they want to buy that week, and they ditch the rest. And that is the wrong way to go about doing it. So what you want to do is save those coupons and organize them so that you can use those manufacturer coupons at the week that the store has a sale on that. So use the manufacturer coupon on the sale price and not all willy-nilly based on the timing of when you want it. Most things that coupons are really impactful for are non-perishable foods and non-food items. So coupons are not super effective around the perimeter of the grocery store. So fresh meats, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, sometimes like milk, bakery items, fancy cheeses, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to go a really long way there. Quick shout out because I love certain products. This is a product that I asked for Christmas, so I got it for free. So I would suggest you do the same thing. But this is a
Ask
product
it
called,
for Christmas.
yeah, or birthday or Christmas. But this is a product called the Garnish with 2 R's, and it has this little device that goes in it. You fill it up with water, you put this in, you push the button, and you put a pinch of salt in it, and then you put all your fresh fruits and veggies in there and sits in there for 10 minutes. It needs the salt, it needs the sodium in there to break down the benzene rings in pesticides, on all pesticides. And it sits in there for 10 minutes. It's going to be 99.9% pesticide free. So you don't have to buy the organic kind. You can buy the regular kind to save some money and put it in the garnish, and it's pesticide free, or you can support local farmers. I go to a lot of farmers markets around here. Who knows what they spray on those things? So I put everything into my garnish, and that way I just know that I don't have to always buy the expensive organic ones to know that it's free of pesticides.
Yeah. So you covered a lot of ground there. So I just want
Yeah,
to make sure to break that down. I think that one of the things that you talked about was uh, how stores have certain policies around manufacturer coupons.
right.
You presented three different stores and what those were. And if it's helpful for folks, let us know. We're happy to follow up with a blog post with the specific ideas, just so that you have a reference point for them. But the critical thing there is that you shared how typically the coupons that you receive either over mail or digital, we have a tendency to ignore them we have a tendency to look at only the ones that we really, really immediately need
Right.
and maybe use them at the wrong time to not get the most out of that. And you talked about how really it's going to be much more focused around the non-perishables, which, let's be honest, like you probably don't necessarily want to find value always around like the perimeter of the stores, as you called it, right? Um, so in those cases, what you're using, Rachel, is you're spending more of your time
Mhm.
to create more money for yourself. And I think that one of the biggest objections that I get from people whenever I talk about like me using coupons or you using coupons is like
Mhm.
that takes a lot of freaking time, man. I don't have
Yes.
time for that. So let's just dispel that myth for a second, and then we'll come back to some of the other things that you talked
Yeah.
about.
So yeah, so and if what I talk about today seems bananas and not fun and like it takes too much time, then great. You are a person where the more precious commodity for you might be time over money. But this is why I used to teach couponing classes at churches that had a lot of, retired folks in there who wanted to be impactful. They wanted to be able to donate to the food pantry at the church. I used to teach this at homeless shelters just to make sure that everybody understood if you have access to, a paper recycling dumpster, you too can find these treasures in the trash that you can, really make impactful. So some people have more time than money, but most tasks take either time or money. If you want to clean your house, if you want to mow your lawn, you either take the time to do it yourself or you pay someone else to do it. Couponing is a similar situation. If you don't want to take any of the time, go pay whatever the price is that the retail price is, and that's it. You're in and out, zip, zip. But if money is really a priority for you and you're really looking to economize and save those dollars, it will take, instead of an investment of money, an investment of time to come up with a strategy. Go through your coupon inventory, go through the sales circular, go through online deals, and see how you can stack those together to find those treasures in any given week because it fluctuates each week.
Yeah. So I'll put some numbers
Yeah.
on that because, as you know, I'm the engineering
Are you? You love
side of
numbers?
the house. So, like, I love my numbers over there. So I'll share some numbers over there. But I totally agree with you. I mean, it does come down to like, what is it that you prioritize more? So let's just say that you do prioritize money,
Mhm,
or they're kind of even keeled. Like
mhm,
you at the end of the day need to make sure that you're getting bang for your buck or bang for your time in this particular case. On my personal side, and I've got two kids, two two very young children that require a lot of time. Uh, Obviously, we have a company, and it requires a tremendous amount of time. There's a whole lot of other things. I'm a caretaker, right? You get it. There's a lot of things that are going on in my life.
mhm,
Even with all of that, it takes me about 10 minutes maximum in total combination per week. And that 10 minutes ends up generating typically on a weekly basis about 80 to $150 of
mhm.
savings.
Savings.
Yeah, 80 to $150 of savings on a weekly basis. So over the course of a month, I'll have spent less than an hour for about $400 plus of savings that I'm typically walking away with. I mean,
That's
I'm
car
practically
payment.
a lawyer at that point,
Yeah.
or earning about $400 an hour. But like all of what you're saying, and in my case, there is kind of a Pareto optimal use of it, right? Like I'm not
Yes.
always maximally using a coupon to its best,
Yeah.
right? But especially if it's non-perishables, especially things like that, it's just being about being mindful. And the second aspect of it is this is more so something that I'm looking forward to with my own kids, but this is something I've seen others, including you, do extremely well, which is kids have a tendency to have time. And
Mhm,
it turns out kids love games. You can make this into a game,
mhm.
and it becomes a great way to both learn math, but also feel like you have these small wins. And in fact, that's a behavioral finance principle, right? Those small wins, they add up. If I'm able to save here this amount, this and I'm able to save here this amount, that then gives me the personal drive for me to continue to be interested in both math, money, as well as wanting to do something for myself, right? So it is, yeah, I feel like we're trying to make a bigger point about how to use this in your lives and parenting, but I think like that's something that I've seen do extremely well. You do extremely
Yeah,
well.
they secretly get involved with it and they don't even realize that it's math because when they hear math, they think like two trains are heading towards each other at different, and they're just like, oh my gosh, why would I ever need this? But when you start talking about numbers that have dollar signs in front of them, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this matters to me. And this is something like they make a list of all the items that they want and they know how much things cost. So it's like we can get more of your items if we have a way to stretch that dollar, get them when they're on sale, put them in the freezer, whatever it is, and so they understand that. So coupons are really effective, again, on those non-perishable foods that are come in cans or boxes. Dairy is usually really good. Freezer section is great. Also, non-food items like cleaning products, paper products, trash bags, sandwich bags, pet food, drinks, toiletries, all those cleansers and that sort of thing. So it's not just like, oh, well, this isn't going to save me on vegetables, and that's all I care about. It's
Yeah.
like if you can save on all the things in the interior of the store, it gives you a lot more money to prioritize the things that are most important for you and your family.
Exactly. Now, I want to talk about one other strategy
Yeah.
here as we're to um, just so folks are aware. I Especially if you take the digital coupon route. One of the other things that you can take advantage of is creating multiple different profiles for yourself. Now, just to be clear, I'm not suggesting you individually create multiple different fake profiles. That's not what I'm talking about here. It could be just you and your partner, or you and someone else in your house, something along those lines. And this is something that, especially, stores like Walgreens and CVS, like some of the pharmaceutical stores, have a tendency to do, right? They create personalized delivery. It's like, oh, you're someone that really cares about feminine products, and thus I'll send you these types of coupons.
Mhm.
But one of the interesting things is sometimes the coupons that they receive are much more valuable than the coupons that you get, and vice versa, right? So there's been this situation where, my wife may be getting a coupon on her side that is for a Dove Men Plus Care deodorant versus me getting something on my side. Now, I just have to guess what is happening with the back end logic here. It's like, oh, you need deodorant no matter what. So, like, let's
Yeah.
just make sure that, we feel like you're getting a deal rather than the deal, if that makes sense. Whereas for my wife, it's like, well, she's out, she's buying other things. Let's just make sure that she sees something super attractive there so she'll end up picking it up as well. Again, this is a guess about what's happening in the back end. Not
Yeah.
sure that's exactly how it's being approached, but the practical situation is she ends up having at the exact same time for the exact same good, something that's more valuable. So this is something that I do want to make sure that folks, especially as you're thinking about it as like a household activity, it can like that's something that you can leverage as well.
I'm impressed. That is an advanced strategy. I'm impressed. And my mom and I would go shopping together and we would do something similar, but it was, we would type in her thing and we would type in my thing. But usually it was just because a lot of stores will have something where it's limits of one, right? So you can type your card in and you get this really, really amazing deal, but you can only get one of them. So if she does it, then she can get one. And if I do one, then I can get one. And then if I bring my husband, then he can get one. And then we can get three instead of one. So
Yeah.
everybody has their own profile, but those are ways where, again, we had a multi-generational household. And so those were things that we would always think about. How can we maximize? We're shopping at this store anyway. If we just go together and then kind of have separate baskets, then we can still get the same deal applied where everybody can benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to pivot to some things where couponing may seem extremely tough, like your large expenses. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with that, Rachel?
So seasonally, things are going to be different prices, right? So in the grocery store, we see that pretty commonly. Like in January, you're going to have lots of big deals on like lean cuisine meals and frozen vegetables because people are thinking about healthy stuff. This weekend is 4th of July. And if you look in any circular, there's going to be deep discounts on meat and sausages and hamburgers and hot dogs and all of those things because they are trying to lure you into the store with these really great deals that are relevant to you right now and hoping that you buy a bunch of other stuff on the way out. So after 4th of July season, we tend to see bigger discounts on things like patio furnitures. And so seasonally, this is going to change not just for the grocery items, but for larger items as well. So different strategies for things like Lowe's and Home Depot, appliances, all of those sorts of things. But a lot of times they will have deep sales at specific times. So you want to pay attention to those. And it's not always like, just make sure that you know what the normal range is of something, because sometimes they'll say it's a sale and it's not really. So just know what your ideal price is for things and wait and be patient for that sale price because it'll come down.
Yeah. So this is my favorite time to throw in everyone's two favorite letters in 2025, or really the last 3 years, AI. So it's been really interesting to see the role that AI has started to play in people's search, right? So
Yeah.
I've heard folks that are building little chat GPTs or little GPTs that are essentially keeping track of different prices, much like airline prices,
Mm,
right? So, like for example, Kayak was one of the first to do this, or Google, who then bought Kayak, was is still does this, which is yeah, you basically set a price alert. You have a tendency to figure out
yeah.
like when is the best time to fly, and because it has a broader engine of what it has seen over multiple different seasons, it's able to help you understand how to take advantage of when is the best time to fly. Typically, it's about 3 weeks in advance of when the flight is going to be. Heads up if you're an Amtrak rider like ourselves on the Acela corridor, it
Mhm.
that price does not go down, my friend.
That's good to know.
I just
We'll
want
be
to give
waiting
you a heads
forever.
up. It only goes up, especially if it's the day off. So for those that have requested a meeting with me the day off, they require me to be there. Please know that I paid a price.
Yeah.
But my point is this, like you are able to leverage technology in a
Mhm.
great way, especially today, so that you're at least being informed about when is the best, when it may be the best to purchase things like airfare and train travel. You mentioned a couple things that kind of went back to the principle that we talked about earlier, which is inventory, right? So
Mhm.
ultimately, at the end of the day, if a place like Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware, there's limited space
Right.
over there, and even in their distribution warehouses, there's going to be limited space, and so for them, they can't afford to have something sitting there that's not being sold. They need that to be turned over, and that's the type of good turnover that they want to see, right?
Right.
Uh, not the employee turnover that you and I talk about in a different respect.
That's right.
Same thing like with flying. You want to make sure the plane keeps flying. If it's just sitting on the ground, it's not making money. So what is it they are going to be doing if there is a glut of inventory, a product that is ordered, and for whatever reason it didn't already sell with whatever promotion? Yes, typically there's going to be promotions. One of the things that I wanted to call out is this may be an opportunity, especially typically after you've had like the 4th of July that you mentioned,
Mhm.
or some other holiday that comes. This may be an opportunity for you to just ask, is like, hey, I am really interested in this grill. I'm seeing that it's really not on sale. When will this come on sale? Or when do you expect to get rid of it?
Right.
Because what do you have? You have patience, you have time, you're willing to have the time. But
Yeah.
what is it that you don't want to do? You don't want to pay full price for something like that because you can afford to wait. So the managers typically straight up with you about when that is going to be the case and that is not going to be the case, because ultimately that manager wants to get that grill out of there.
Yeah.
That's the type of good turnover that they want. So that is, remember, it doesn't need to be, you don't need to make it super awkward, right? You don't need to, it's just a simple question, and half the time, more than half the time, you're getting a pretty straightforward answer. It's like, come back on this day, we're going to be running a promotion on that date. Or sometimes they just literally do a manager special for you right there and then. That happened actually with our own patio furniture from about 7 years ago, and it was all just a an honest question at that point.
Yeah, or they can sometimes give you a deal on the floor model. Take it today and we'll make a deal for you. But yeah,
Exactly.
we're shopping for patio furniture now because obviously you guys saw the post, a tree fell in my backyard and decimated much of my things out there. So I was kind of waiting until after 4th of July to see when those would be discounted. So we've been following the trends for the past month or so since that happened. Because we, have an idea of what we like, but we don't want to pay what they're asking for right now. So we're just gonna wait. We're just gonna be
Yeah.
patient. Yeah.
So this is going to transition us to kind of the last two topics that
Mhm.
we had on deck today. One is around budgeting. So I think both you and I, we just said something without saying it. What is that?
But
We
I don't know,
both
what did we say?
we both had a budget, right?
Yes, yes,
We both had a mental budget for
yes.
what is it that we were willing to spend. And I think that that's, one of the things that I think that has so much, like when I used to teach, one of the things that gave something like couponing such a great potential for engagement is it gave us an opportunity to talk about budgeting, which
Mhm.
everyone rolls their um, like eyes on all the time without actually talking about budgeting. So, really, what is your willingness to spend in terms of both, again, time and money?
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where, especially for your larger goods or bigger purchases, those, by the way, include experiences. So, like vacations and so
Good thought.
on. Certainly, being able to have a mental budget of that and being able to leverage AI to inform what that budget can be so that you're just because you're willing to spend $100 on something doesn't mean that you should spend $100 on
Right.
something. Right? So having that information will help that. I'm kind of curious. I just mentioned experiences. Was there a certain experience, whether it's like a spa day or something like that, that you've also leveraged your couponing strategy for?
Yeah, I mean, for like my kids will tell you, like every summer vacation, we go to Kiowa in South Carolina because my brother owns a house there. And so my sister-in-law has worked it out with their neighbor who also have a house, obviously, that most of the year is rented out as an Airbnb, but they swap a week with each other so that my sister-in-law gets both houses for a week and then the neighbor gets both houses for a week. So we go there because it's free for us. So that is, maybe someday we'll take a family vacation somewhere else, but right now, it's really great. The kids are of a great age where they can just get on the bikes and ride around the island all day and go to the ice cream shop and then go fishing and then go to the pool, and they kind of have the lay of the land. But as they get older, they might want to do other things. And luckily, I have a sunny day fund to help save up for a vacation that is a little bit more luxurious. But also things like I am a member at Massage Envy, which I am. I love my membership there. And if you are a member, then you pay a monthly fee, which is half of the normal fee to go get a massage or a facial. And so as long as you go every month, you're like basically being half price, getting that for half price. And it's kind of like scheduled, prioritized me time. I feel like I am paying for this, whether I go or not. I better make sure I have time to go. And it is a way to prioritize something that I enjoy and that is good for me. But obviously, time is a precious commodity for me, and it's hard for me to always make time to do that. So I feel like it's forced me time because it is discounted me time, and I know that I'm saving money if I use it that way. So little things like that, I'm a fan of.
Yeah, so I know that you and I have talked about other tools like Rakuten and
Yeah,
Retail Not and
Ibotta.
types of tools which will basically give you rebates, stacking using credit card deals. Like for example, you can like the Massage Envy, you can get a subscription, but then on
Mhm.
the credit card will give you $10 or $20 just for doing that, which doesn't even come from which isn't what you get from Massage Envy. So the total price of the product can actually end up being lower. So those are
Yeah,
great.
like my Bank of America deals. I go look at that every month because it has different deals on like if I buy certain things, if I buy it through them, I'll get like 10% cash back or other
Yeah,
things. So look in
exactly.
all the places.
Exactly. Now especially because I've been seeing this commercial a lot more, recently there's a lot of these also AI apps out there that will say, let me look at all of the things that you're subscribed to, Sasha and Babe, and let me see if you still need to use them, right? And it's this poor schmuck who's somehow subscribed to like $400 worth of stuff every single
And
month.
forgot that he was
And
subscribed.
and it's like, do you still really need this random thing that is like, no, don't need that. So, I mean, that's great. And
Mhm.
I happen to know the founders of the company that ended up getting bought by Rocket Money, and the word that which the commercial
Yeah.
alludes to. And it's so funny, like to hear the chat about it, right? Because at the end of the day, that ends up being a subscription itself.
Yeah,
Because
it is.
like
I had
you're
that
subscribing
subscription.
to
I'm
something
guilty.
that cancels your other subscriptions, like just
Yeah.
like what is the world coming to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that I think that it kind of goes to show that we are kind of living in one of these like death by a thousand cuts situation, right? Like
Yeah.
everything is a subscription at the end of the day. So do you have any strategies, Rachel? Either when it comes to either couponing or bundling or just getting rid of things along the way?
Um, yeah, I don't know. You're probably a better one to answer this. I definitely like bundling as far as, and again, strategy has so much a part of this, right? Like, so I think that my strategy at the grocery store and how I can like stack coupons there is different than at pharmacy stores like CVS and Walgreens. There's a much different game to play over there, but just as rewarding. So it's really just about devising the strategy. I am not one who holds on to things, so I have no problem in out with the old and in with the new. So I kind of like replacing things every once in a while if I can find a good deal and a reason to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the things that we subscribe to at the end of the day are not necessarily that sticky.
No.
Example. So I think that is something. It's not exactly like a savings benefit that at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I think that what I've seen be really successful, especially um, this is more so what has worked for our family.
Yep.
It's a piece of advice that I'd gotten from actually my dissertation advisor. He said, even if it's once a month or once every other week,
Mhm.
try to set. He calls it tea time, like literally tea. um, he is like try to set aside like 30 minutes where you're just like talking through things where at least you're not an autopilot. So because the more important thing is not an AI tool that will tell
Mhm.
you what to cancel, but for you to have at your household level a collective communication and awareness about it. Because unchecked, those types of money expenses start becoming microaggressions, and you don't want that to lead into something bigger.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we just don't change things because that's the way we've always done it, and so that's the way we're going to continue to do it. I think about this when it came to my like cable, right? My television, internet, telephone, all that kind of stuff. When my parents were living with me, like my dad had to watch the Orioles game, and the Orioles game is only on Masson, and so I have to have Comcast in order to do that. And then
Yeah.
after my dad died, I was like, oh, maybe we can unplug and get rid of our cable and just keep internet access. My mom was like, I still need the home phone because I don't have a cell phone and I don't want a cell phone and I need this and I need to watch Jeopardy every night and I don't know how to access those fancy apps from the streaming thing. I just want to be able to turn it on and talk it into my remote. So we had to keep it. And then after my mom has passed away, now we have finally unplugged and we got rid of the home phone and we got rid of the cable and we now only have internet. It saved me $200 a month to do that because I was like, the kids are just streaming stuff anyway or watching YouTube. Like they don't have the patience for commercials. They're like, what year are we living in that I have to watch a commercial? What is happening? So we got rid of all that and it saved us $200 a month just because we were aware that we weren't using those services anymore.
Absolutely. So, the last bit, which is, well, you and I, we work in employee benefits at the end of
Yeah.
the day. We provide an employee benefit. It's Sunny
Hmm.
Day Fund. We help people save for emergencies, but also all the things in life that happen between now and retirement, which
Hmm.
I think is most of life at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Uh, now, it's always curious for me when I see employers providing like these like discount malls and these types of things where you can essentially get the same type of discounts in a private world. I'm just wondering, like, as an employer, as you're thinking about a combination of trying to improve the financial well-being of individuals, because yes, that is something that obviously works in retaining people, literally seen the research about how that improves people's
Hmm.
memory, and while giving them the tools to do it. I'm just kind of curious to hear your thoughts on the role that something like couponing plays at the employer level and how that can be used as a strategy, and how to use it.
Yeah, I think that there are going to be programs like that available through the employer, and you know, the majority of people do not coupon, right? So the majority of people are not always engaging in thinking about discounts and thinking about taking the time to kind of sift through what are the products that I need, what are the programs that are available, how do I access this, and then I can go buy it. So a lot of that is communication, making sure that those discounts are relevant for the workforce and understanding just removing any friction or barriers from using that, because we don't always see super high participation in some of those discount programs unless employed, because unless they're couponers or some strange people like me, their ears might not perk up at that because they automatically might just think, oh, there's got to be fine print or there's got to be hoops to jump through, that sort of thing. So just understanding your workforce, quelling some of those fears and assumptions, and making it be something that's really relevant is valuable. Obviously, like what we do and helping people save money that can be used for anything tends to resonate with a larger portion of the workforce, because it's not like just for this service or just for this product. It's for whatever you want it to be, which I think that, especially the younger generation, they have varied needs and they really don't like all these silos and restrictions and limits on what I can use this for and what I can't use it for.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Again, because I'm like the math person in this
Yes.
lovely family. Uh, the way that I think about it is kind of like a conversion funnel, right? It's like,
Hmm.
uh, if you're telling people to coupon,
Hmm.
that ends up being something that actually quite few people will actually end up engaging in right away,
Yeah, it's
right?
a chore.
It's exactly, it's a chore.
Yeah.
But whereas I think like one of the things that you do with your kids that's extremely awesome, if I'm okay to offer up the story, is like
Yes.
there's like a
I
you
know what
say
you're gonna
here's
say.
$50, it's your $50.
Yes.
Here's all the tools that you have at your disposal to make the most out of that $50.
Hmm.
And I think it's magical to see your kids to then be able to make the most out of that $50. Just to be very clear, I'm not saying that the employer is you and your kids are the employees
No.
in this scenario. I'm not even hinting at that. I think I'm just saying that there's different ways to approach how to get folks to embrace something like couponing or finding value uh, more philosophically and more independently.
Yeah, we
Now,
have to get them interested in money, and I
exactly.
think that there's been a lack of interest in money because it's been this big scary monster that I don't understand and that is just a source of stress for me, and it doesn't bring my dreams come true. It just gives me nightmares, right? And so for my kids, I intentionally, we got them green light cards and it was really easy for me to transfer money over to them for doing specific chores around the house. My one rule is if I have to ask you to do it, you get no money for it, right? So they have to understand what needs to be done and proactively do that and then come and tell me that it's been done and then I'll reward them money for it. But they've got their Amazon, we've got their debit cards put on the Amazon account. We've got their their Greenlight cards linked into their Apple ID when they play Roblox, into Instacart so they can order whatever they want from the grocery store. So they understand that how much things cost. And my whole goal was I can't create savers before I create earners. And I wanted them to understand as long as I'm willing to work, I will be able to earn some money. And then it's up to me what I do with that money and how that is spent.
Yeah, but the beautiful and the not but and the
Yeah.
beautiful
And
framing of that is that it's all outcomes based framing, right? So
correct.
it's not that couponing is what you have to do. It's not that saving is what you have to do.
Hmm.
It's that, your kid wants to go buy this toy, or your kid
Hmm.
wants to go spend their money on this awesome package in Roblox.
Yeah.
Or your kid wants to, get the latest wrestling pad
Yeah.
thing or whatnot, right? Like they have a specific outcome in their mind, and I
They
think
do.
that's where we've seen our engagement at the end of
Yes.
the day. Like, it's not that people want to save. It's that they don't want to rely on debt or something unsavory when something bad happens. It's not that people want to just blindly put away $20 a month. It's that they want to be able to go on a vacation without having to be stressed out about money. And that framing is extremely important. It's a concept of mental accounting and behavioral
Right.
finance, right? is extremely important. And as an employer, that's really what needs to be leaned into because yes, while the core relationship between employer and employee is financial,
Mhm.
I think that being able to present a journey and a pathway where the individual is able to accomplish all of the outcomes that they want for themselves. And it just happens to be that couponing is one tool and saving is one such
Mhm.
tool. Like they embrace it a lot better. So I know that we're at the end of our time.
Mhm.
This has been a fun and hopefully a bit of a random session for
Mhm.
you all, and would love your feedback on it. If you happen to have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask them now. I don't think there's anything immediately for us to answer. If you have any suggestions or things that you want us to talk about as well, let us know.
The
So,
other really just quick highlight I wanted to take into as far as the takeaway, there is one website specifically on couponing that will help you decipher what is the strategy for each store, what coupons are out there, what should I be downloading, what should I be looking for in the newspaper, what should I be printing. And this is my favorite couponing website. It's called thecrazycouponlady.com, crazy with a K, thecrazycouponlady.com. You can shop by store, you can shop by thing that you're trying to buy, you can shop by, where you live, and it understands what has come out in your local papers. Keep in mind that like this weekend was a holiday weekend because 4th of July is, so there were no coupons in our local papers. The coupons tend to come out in the Saturday portion of the Sunday paper. So just know little things like that. It's really hard to be brand loyal with coupons. It's really just about which brand is going to give me the best deal. So if you're really brand loyal on certain things, coupons might not be the way to go, but just keep an eye out for your brand. And certain companies like P&G put out a P&G saver, Procter & Gamble puts out a P&G saver. They've also got their P&G Good Every Day where you can earn points that is
yeah.
good towards digital rewards on their programs. And they have manufacturer coupons that you can download and scan at checkout with the app. So there's lots of ways that manufacturers are also kind of encouraging you to buy their brand as opposed to other brands that don't have those sort of resources. So just be aware they're all around you, but you do have to kind of look for them a little bit and work it into what works for you.
Yeah, I think Unilever has the same
Yep.
as well. So it's been really interesting. We do that with Pampers, like
Yeah.
with diapers.
Yeah, I would always find good deals on diapers, like discounted diapers and free diapers, and I always cloth diapered, but I always had friends that had, that would use Pampers and stuff, so they were always very excited to take those deals. So somebody can always benefit from the fruits of your labor if you can find that good treasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, fantastic, Rachel. Glad that we got a chance to nerd out on
me
something that
too. We did nerd
where
out.
we get to share how we end up saving a couple $100 every single month.
We
So
do.
hopefully,
And
some
that's a car payment,
the
right?
result of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, friend.
Yeah. Cheers. Have a sunny day.
Have a
Bye.
sunny day. Bye.